What's going on? It's the RapNerd, and I just got out of seeing the new horror movie called X, brought to you by A24, so you know it's going to be something to talk about. I gotta point out too that it's directed by Ty West. I really dig his movies, man. Like, I think I like all of them, really. I think my favorite so far is either House of the Devil or Innkeeper. So those are out there online. So if you never checked out this dude, check his movies out. I think he does pretty good horror work. So this movie is about a group of people that want to make an elevated porn film, which I think is funny that they chose that those words. They didn't say those words, but one of the directors saying that he wants to shoot this porn like nothing you've ever seen before, like it's gonna be artsy, fartsy, and all that stuff. And I just find it funny that this concept is coming from a movie produced by A24, who's known for having elevated horror, which in itself is like, I don't like that statement because I'm like, I just don't like people saying elevated horror. Me being a horror guy, but anyway. But they were trying to make an elevated horror movie, and they rent this house as their location from this old couple out in Texas, like in the country somewhere. It's literally this couple's house on a whole bunch of land, and then they have like a little house on the side that they allow people to rent. And but they don't tell the owners that they're shooting a porn. So what ends up happening is shit just goes left, as you can tell. And what I like about the story is it takes place in 24 hours, so it's not a whole bunch of like back and forth like next week, this week. Like it literally takes place in 24 hours. It lets you know that from the jump. And they do an interesting thing where the first scene they show is, I'm not gonna say what it is, but they show this scene, and as the story goes on, you see stuff from the first scene placed in throughout the movie to be like, that's where that comes from. So be on the lookout for that if you do watch this movie. I thought that was really, really clever and a nice way of, foreshadowing without being too in your face with it. The cinematography is great, honestly. Like the cinematography is fantastic. Like in my head, I feel like Ty West sat down and was like, you know what? Let's remake the Texas Chainsaw Massacre '74, but make it original. You know what I mean? Because this definitely feels like '74 was the inspiration for it. This movie is a straight up old school '74-esque slasher, and I love that about it. Like I think it really, really works. And the cinematography speaks to that. The slight grain on it, the way that it's color graded, the camera movement, like it all feels akin to that time period. It's really handheld. You feel like you're there for the most part. There are some scenes that will put you at a bird's eye view to create more tension, and I think they handled that really, really well. That was absolutely dope. And some of the editing choices too, I like. They do little things that will throw you off guard. You'd be like, huh? But again, it just adds to the amount of tension and suspense that this whole movie carries, because the whole movie is creepy. And what I will say is, excuse me, the first half is like pretty much all set up, but once you hit that like hour mark, somewhere between 40 minutes to an hour, because this movie is like an hour and 47 minutes, I believe, somewhere between there is when the show really starts. Like not to say that everything before that was bad, because it's not, because the characters are so damn interesting that they keep you pulled in the entire time. I think Ty, the director, he also wrote the movie. I think they did a good job. He did a good job specifically of building these characters out and fleshing them out through the personalities and the kind of characters they are. So the way everybody speaks a little different. Everybody has different lingos and all of that. So you kind of have this gist that these characters without having really any backstory. Everybody is separated. There aren't too any alike characters, and I think that they do that extremely well with characterization. So you just know who's who, man, and I think they did that really, really well. But with the characters being the way they are, and it's funny as hell too. I'll say that it's pretty damn funny. You really are honed in for that first hour, but I'm telling you, when the shit hits, it's when like it really hits, and the horror traits that you probably be looking for are hit right there, and it does not stop. It keeps going. It is bloody. Again, it's a slasher movie, so you already know how that happens. And there's some really unexpected kills, like certain ones you see coming. Like I feel like Ty really fell back into the tropes purposely because this is supposed to take place back in '79. So movies back then, they had some scares that you would see coming a mile away. They had other ones that you kind of just got caught off guard with, and it's just like, oh shit. Like, so I think the scares are good, the kills are really, really good. The first one is just really jarring. The first one, you see it coming, but you don't see it coming at the same time because it happens, and then it just keeps continuing. You're like, oh shit, okay. So the kills were great. One in particular, well, it's not really a scare, but it's a scene that they show at the beginning that presents a fear that you didn't even think about in a horror movie like this. Like they really give you a fear that later translates into a kill that you don't see coming in any slasher movie. I've never seen this happen, and as soon as you see the idea, the scene presented, I don't want to spoil it because it'll take you aback, with lack of better terms. But you have this scene that presents itself early on. It's like, oh shit, and then later on, when they go to this location, you're like, that's gonna happen. This is definitely gonna happen. And when it does, it's even more like, oh shit, even though you saw it coming. So I loved how they built out a lot of these scares where you saw them coming. And it presents a nice little message in there too, like about judgment. I'll say, like there's a conversation that they sit down and have, and they kind of question the morality of what they're doing, like shooting a porn video, but it gets turned into something way more than what I expected it to be. Like it actually hits there's actually some gems to be brought out of that, aside from sexuality, just like the person you are. I really, really dug that message that they put in there. And with it being surrounded by, about shooting a porn, the movie is very sexual, but they play with the sexual nature in ways that have you like, like you have some parts of the movie that are like, oh, okay, this is like some real like porn type stuff. Like it takes it there, not too much there, but it takes it there. But then it flips it and does the same thing in a different area, and it just has you like, ugh, you know what I mean? Like, and again, none of this, and I don't mean any of this like in a bad way to where you gotta turn your head and look away. It's just like it's structured well to show the duality of that conversation that they're talking about, and it's really, really, really dope. So without going too long, I really enjoyed this movie, man. It was a great one, and there's a lot to be said as the story continues. At the end, you're gonna see something that's like, oh shit, that's why this person knew that. And I dug that. Like there's a reveal at the end that really does a nice payoff, and I think that it's good. It's great, man. If you're a horror fan, I definitely think you should watch this one. This is another one that goes on my favorites of the list. It was really, really well done. Shout out to Ty. I call it Ty like I know. Shout out to Ty West, yeah, being the director, writer, and editor. Like I like Ty because you see his personality in the movies, and he's like an artist. Like he's in there doing his own shit. So really enjoyed it. Go check it out if you get a chance this weekend. I definitely think it's worth the watch as a horror fan. And let me know in the comments, have you seen it, what you think about it. And till next time, peace. RapNerd Productions, no capping, that's word to mommy.